people genuinely hate what they don't understand. When they see someone doing something proudly that they've never done before, or never had the discipline to do, or never even thought to do, and you're evolving, and they've known you since whenever, they can't wrap their mind around it without judging it.
People perceive, and then not only that, people don't even keep their perceptions to themselves. They push that shit onto you, and then they make it your problem. And the way that a lot of it affected me was I always knew I was gonna be big, and I always knew I was gonna do something completely different from what any of my other family has done for themselves. And because of that, I feared a certain level of success and financial freedom because I did not want them to say, you switched up, you acting funny, you can't call nobody.
If I love you and I feel like calling you, I'm gonna call you. But if I don't have the space to extend it to you, I'm not worried about the perception of how you view me and that I need to show up for you because I'm your brother, because I'm your son, or because I'm your cousin. Like, I do that shit when I feel like it, and when I have the accessibility to show up.
I still feel high on life, high on possibilities. It's an immense feeling, you know? It's your girl Tizzy T. I'm here with Tizzy T.
You're here with Trizzy T. Trizzy Trey.
Hell nah. So we are in a getaway cabin, and my intrusive thoughts just like jumped out at the start of this video. Right now, I wanted to have a sit-down conversation. I think that's what we often do.
So we do. We sit down.
We sit down. And we have conversation all the time. Y'all should know Trey by now, but if you don't, I'll link his channel in the description box down below. We have many other videos on my channel that you should definitely watch as well. But today I wanted to really talk about literally the title, Your Perception of Me is Not My Problem. And this is a very weighted statement. And when I posted this title idea like a month or so ago, all of my influencer friends were like, that one right there, we need that right now, deliver us that right now. So yeah, I'm eager to really like dig deeper into it because I just tweeted the other day, like, I am tired of fearing perception. Like, I remember a year ago, I used to really talk a lot about perception within itself and say, I don't want to be perceived. I don't want, I don't like it. Like, I don't like what other people think of me, especially because typically what people think of you don't be in exact alignment with how you think of yourself. And it's like, there's not anything that we can really do to change anybody else's perception, especially when it comes to the word perception. What is the definition of the word perception? Because before I even Google it, in my opinion, it sounds like an idea of somebody, an idea that you have of somebody or something. Yeah. So this is even before you even get to know them. Like, I got a perception of Rihanna. Like, I don't feel like I have a perception of you. I feel like I know who you are. Yeah. So does that resonate with how you think the definition is?
It's half and half, because I see it as an intellectual projection of the world, people, everything you see, everything you sense. It's like a projection that you have going out. Like, this is how I looked at it based on belief systems, childhood, upbringing, whatever. Like, it can be anything, education, like you just perceiving it that way. I feel like as far as your question goes, like with me, it's half and half. It's like you still have a perception of me based on those things I just listed, and you also see me transparently at the same time, because the reason why you still have a perception is because we're not with each other all the time. We're always evolving and changing. And, that perception I could have of you, or the thing that I know of you could not evolve. No longer be. It could evolve. You know what I mean? So when we haven't seen each other in months, and now I'm seeing you again, like that's I have to see you transparently again. You have to show up transparently again. So I'm like, okay, I know you. It's no longer just perception. So yeah.
Let's see what Google says. Organization, identification, and interpretation of sensory information in order to represent and understand the environment in the brain.
Yeah. That's limited. I think within the consciousness.
That's a very wordy definition for me to still not understand it. Like, what the fuck?
You know the first thing I thought of when I saw that organization and classification ruining the souls of our generation.
I said it.
That's what I thought of.
I said it. Yeah. Like, and that's funny because like I don't even feel like I accept that definition because that shit was just that was too much. But anyway, this is a topic that is heavily on my mind, or I don't want to say heavily, but fresh on my mind, with a recent experience that I just had with family. And we're going to talk about all the different aspects of perception that we received, especially since fame.
Hell nah.
Yes, fame. But hell yeah.
Oh, I mean, I feel you. I'm gonna say notoriety for me and fame more so for you. You know?
Okay, but what's the difference between that?
They're the same.
Recently, I spoke to, or a family member called me that I haven't spoken to in like over a year, really. And the reason I stopped talking to them was because they called me out of my name the last time we spoke. And literally they called me like 2-3 days ago, and I was like, interesting. I haven't gotten a call from this person in a while. I wasn't gonna answer, but then I was like, that's what I do. I always look at my phone. I'm like, I'm not answering this. And then I found myself answering. So I answer, and this person was like, the first thing they said is, oh, so you think you too good for us now? You can't call nobody because you too famous. You
Mr.
too
Big Shot.
Mrs. Big Shot, too Instagram, TikTok, YouTuber famous. And I'm just sitting on the phone. I'm just like that type of shit is so shallow to me, bruh. And it's like, bro, I know the majority of my family has that same perception. Like, the reason that I stopped talking to this person to begin with was because I had asked him for help on something a few years ago, and the help required like literally less than $100. And I asked them if they could help me. Another aspect that I struggle with, asking for help. I ask for help and I get called out my name for it. So it was just very weird because I'm like, the limiting beliefs that have been instilled in me since childhood, it'd be so crazy to really just watch that shit just like try to like punch you from multiple angles.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, not only are you not acknowledging the fact of like why I stopped hitting you up in the first place, but now you're perceiving me in the same way that you perceived me when the situation first went down, and it's like it's like you learned nothing.
Yeah.
Like, one of the like the reason that they didn't want to help was because they perceived me as being a big money shot or whatever the fuck, and they said I make way more money than them, so what do I need help for? Just undermining my experience, not even asking me personally, like, what is my experience like with my finances? That's another thing that a lot of people perceive. I see on YouTube that, like, we are 100% comfortable in our finances, but, like, people perceive. And then not only that, people don't even keep their perceptions to themselves. They push that shit onto you, and then they make it your problem.
Crazy.
Your problem.
Crazy. That's crazy that people perceive things and then also like project them out onto people and expect them to follow along to their perception.
Yeah, right.
Like,
right.
I perceive it this way, so this is the law, or this is the rule, like, or you should be doing this because this is how I think, and project onto you, rather than just keeping shit to yourself, you know, and then allowing it to just be a fleeting thing. Like, we're gonna naturally perceive shit, but for you to attach to them and then really think that you know what the fuck you're talking about just because you think it, like, that's not fact. Just because you think it doesn't mean it's true. It's always good to ask people questions instead of just like, yo, you think you Mr. Big Shot, you think you, it could just been like, well, hey, so what's been going on recently? Like, how are you doing? You know, like, are you dealing with any pressure based on all of this? You're
asking me for money, like, what's going on? Like, I might not have it, but like, I can lend an ear. I can relate to you about not having it. Yeah. Like, it's like people, like, exactly. I don't want to say people don't look at you as a person. people really stop. Like, what is it exactly? Because what is the moment that somebody transitions from like a person like me or you or any other common folk or like the employee at fucking Publix into a god like Beyonce? When does that all take place in the perceiver's mind? Like, it's a very interesting transition when you really think about it, because it's like, all right, this person eat, sleep, shit, breathe just like you, and yet they are in such a high, you just perceive them in such a completely opposite way. Like,
yeah. So how do you feel about that in regards to just, that thing was huge.
What was that?
That nigga was huge. So how do you feel about people perceiving celebrities in that way, like, you know, with glorification, things like that?
That shit is not real.
Yeah.
Like, okay, my thing with that personally has always been, with me, and I understand people are raised and born under different circumstances, but me, I've just always had an internal knowing that whatever it was that I wanted to achieve, I was able to do it. And so, like, I already knew I was famous. Like, when I was, like, 6, like, I already knew that, like, a lot of people knew who I was. Navigating through elementary, middle, and especially middle and high school, like, people, like, I had some girls that were, I used to go by topic of discussion. I was literally just telling you about this. It's so crazy. Like, my stage name used to be Topic, Topik. No, I'm sorry, Top exclamation mark K. Even better. Because I knew people had that kind of perception of me, but not even because of that, just because I had such a high regard for what I wanted to achieve in this lifetime. And however people responded to that information didn't really have shit to do with me, whether it was in a good or negative light. Okay. But I wanted to finish with what I was saying with family. Yeah. Family and fame, right? It's been such a very weird transition, because you expect common people, acquaintances to switch up. You expect your friends to switch up. But when it comes to your family, it's such a weird thing to have to sit here and acknowledge, like, these people are looking at me no differently from a stranger on the fucking internet. And that is one of the most disappointing things that I've had to really digest.
You know what? I think they're also looking at you from what I was just talking about earlier, from the past you. They're like, oh, we knew her when she was younger or whatever.
I used to wipe her butt.
And now you too good? Now you too good? It's like, it just speaks on the evolution. It's like, okay, you're perceiving me based on the past. Okay. I am who I am now, doing what I'm doing, and you're just seeing what I'm doing, like, on the internet or whatever, and you're like, oh, this is the same person that I used to watch when they were a kid, like, and now they too good to call, now they too good to do whatever.
But even within that is the perception of, I think that she's above me to a certain extent. Yeah. I think that she's more situated.
And then so they project that you think that you're above them. Yes. That's how
that's the dualistic full circle yin yang moment right there.
It's like, oh, you think you better than me, but it's really like an internal.
That's an internal insecurity. That's
insecurity. It's a feeling of inferiority.
Yes.
So yeah.
Completely, honestly. And from that, I've had a lot of limiting beliefs. Like, it was so crazy that when this happened, because as I'm on the phone with this person and I'm hearing them say these things, a series of shadow work journal entries that I wrote over the course of a few months are just popping up into my head. And the first one was when I was living in Mexico in October of last year. I was really trying to get serious about my relationship with money. And I was literally writing out every family member, grandma, mom, uncles, aunts, cousins, like, analyzing the way I've seen their relationships with money flow. And from that, I was identifying how all of that affected me. And the way that a lot of it affected me was I always knew I was going to be big, and I always knew I was going to do something completely different from what any of my other family has done for themselves. And because of that, I feared a certain level of success and financial freedom because I did not want them to say, you switched up, you acting funny, you can't call nobody. That's always niggas' main complaint. You can't call nobody. Nigga, the phone work both ways. And I think another aspect of this that irritates me is the fact that people are sitting here acting like I didn't work hard as fuck for what it is that I have in my life now. What do you think all that shit was for? I've been working on this shit since I was a child. I've been making YouTube videos for going on 10 years. Like, I don't understand. Like, now you actually see the fruits of my labor being in full bloom. I get to go on vacation and get paid for it, and niggas are jealous. Like, and throughout all of this, people's perception of me is my problem. Like, it's still something that I'm trying to remove from my psyche. Like, it's not fucking helpful. And with that being said, the last thing that I wanted to say is that last night you asked me about somebody was asking us a question. We did a Q&A on Trey's channel. And somebody said, what was that last question that I was answering about needing care or?
Yeah, the question was like, how do you become comfortable with allowing others to care for you?
Boy, that is a loaded question. But while you were in the bathroom, I literally wrote, needing verbal and physical comfort actually is something that I do need from those around me. Like my mom tells me that she's proud of me like once or twice a year. Like, I don't feel that affirmation reciprocated from the people around me enough. And I tell myself that, of course, for sure. And I often stand back and I'm just grateful for where I'm at. But sometimes I don't feel like I deserve it. But it's in a way that is only based around other people, how other people have made me feel about the life that I live. Like, I was just talking to my life coach about this. I was like, another family member, a situation with them just recently took place, and I realized that their jealousy for the life that I live deeply affects me, because it makes me feel like I shouldn't be doing the shit that I'm doing. Like, recently, I've been having to force myself to rest throughout the day and actually take a fucking nap rather than look at the sun coming up in the sky and fucking produce, consume like a fucking robot. And yeah, like, and I just feel like, I don't know, I feel like going against those grains has been very challenging. It's also been very rewarding, and it's just like falling more into the selfishness of doing what is best for you without regard of how other people feel about it. And sometimes that feels like the hardest fucking challenge, because if people are gonna do anything, it's point the finger. It's try and make you feel like shit for the way you're navigating, especially if it's what's best for you, and especially if it's something that they haven't seen before.
It's interesting because I had to deal with this perception from my family as I was going through my conscious awakening and just like shifting as a being, realizing like my potential and like my infinite abundance. I was like, you know, dropping meat out of my diet, for example, that to my mom was just the
anarchy.
Anarchy.
Wow.
Yeah. Anarchy is the perfect
You
word.
not black. Wow.
Like, you not black.
Wow.
Like, she was just so confused and also offended.
Why was she offended? Because that's what I was trying to get to. Like, why?
She was offended because, I mean, I used to fuck up.
Good?
I used to,
well, you too good for chitlins now.
Not
You too good for
yeah
hogs and dogs.
Yeah, like especially because she cook it.
Wow.
She cooking it like, oh, so you above my pork chops.
Oh,
like she like you. Oh, so you above my pork chops. Like you can't eat my fried chicken no more. Like
that's crazy.
That and it was literally like I didn't realize that me going through this process, evolving, doing what's best for me would also make other people around me feel
left behind
in a sense, feel offended,
that's crazy,
feel as if like I'm maybe thinking I'm better or as if I'm not there for them anymore. Like it's just a lot of shit came into play, and then those things became judgments. That fear of seeing someone change and evolve can become a judgment. People hate what they don't understand. That's like deeply rooted in perception. People genuinely hate what they don't understand. When they see someone doing something proudly that they've never done before or never had the discipline to do or never even thought to do, and you're evolving and they've known you since whenever, they can't wrap their mind around it without judging it. They can't. People lack acceptance for that type of stuff. So that happened, and then my feminine energy came into play. I started consciously allowing the feminine to awaken within me, and then now I gotta like hear from like the men in the family about making gay jokes and like LGBT jokes and shit like that, and you like rainbows and stuff. I'm like,
what the fuck?
Rainbows are fine. I think rainbows are fine. Like that, I had to continue to integrate confidence within myself through this process, like continuously affirming within my being that what I'm doing is intuitively guided. It is intuitively supported by God, which is me and my connection to the divine. It's guided by my spiritual team, my protectors. I know I'm supported, and I'll attract the community that understands. There's people who literally are going to resonate with where I'm coming from. So in this process, I've just anchored in more and more stillness within myself and just security within who I am and stability within my being. That's where it came from, and that's when I really realized, like, okay, perception is perception. That shit is so fickle. That shit is so fake. And then this kind of goes back to what we were talking about yesterday, how we were like, nothing exists without our perception. So allowing others' perception to infiltrate your own perception, like that don't even, you're just believing in illusions, what someone else thinks of you.
To explain it a little bit better in relation to words, because I feel like some people will have a hard time getting this. I've said this before, but I asked myself the question, how much of what I experience is just my mind trying to make up for what is not really there? Because if we are really, really talking about it, the only thing that we can prove exists is what is right in front of us, right in front of us, ready to be received and perceived. What we can hear, smell, touch, taste, see, like that is the only thing that exists. Me thinking to myself that fucking my family exists, that's just my brain trying to make up for what is literally not here. My family is not here. Yeah. So how could I really know that they do exist? Yeah. Like, we are living in an area where it's like, we're living in a world where it's like, if we're walking down the street, everything that we pass and is now behind us really don't exist. I feel like that's also why they say don't look back, you're not going that way. Because it's like, if you're so worried about what has already come and gone, what has already happened, like, you missing a whole lot of world right in front of you, a whole lot of new shit just ready for you to tap into, a tree to climb, like a field to run in. There's so much more.
Yeah, and see, this is why when I do show up for others, because other people exist. Like, I get it, but like, if I'm here in my own world, I'm here in the perception of my own consciousness. If I do think of family, I'm showing up in my perception of how I want to be how I want to be in the face of others. I don't worry about like how it's perceived or what's expected of me. I show up how I want to show up from my perception, and I do it with love. I do it with like intention. I don't do it with obligation. I don't do it with like, oh, I don't want people thinking this of me. Like, it doesn't fucking matter. I do it because I'm a loving person. So if I love you and I feel like calling you, I'm gonna call you. But if I don't have the space to extend it to you, I'm not worried about the perception of how you view me and that I need to show up for you because I'm your brother, or because I'm your son, or because I'm your cousin. Like, I do that shit when I feel like it, and when I have the accessibility to show up, to pour into another cup.
Was it difficult for you to establish that boundary? Because I feel like we might have slightly different experiences given the fact that I'm a girl.
Yeah, for sure. Hell yeah, it'd be different. Was it difficult for me to establish that boundary? Not with them per se, not with them, but more so like within myself. Yeah, for sure. It was definitely because a little bit of that guilt was there. Like, people pleasing. Of course that shit was there. I can't say it lasted long. Like, I kind of picked up on it, but it was definitely there. Like, I would go to Costa Rica and be like, damn, I haven't talked to nobody while I've been here. Like, I've really just been off grid. Like, damn, I'm sure my mom wonders how I'm doing, or people are kind of concerned. But I'm like, I'm okay. I know I'm okay. It's like, that's all that matters. And then, I mean, it's also like, I'm not gonna be here one day, so it's okay if I'm not okay, you know, or if someone isn't okay. Like, everything is temporary. So it is what it is. That's my perception though. So yeah, I don't know. I didn't struggle with it too long, but I usually kind of just work things out through like the psychology of my being. Like, I don't know. I just kind of talk to myself, and I really just follow my intuitive guidance, and like things just kind of like, it doesn't take too much like processing, or it's just like, okay, yeah, nah, I don't have to overextend myself. Like, what am I doing that for? And then it kind of clears out. And I also want to discuss, like, I wanted to talk about rejection, because rejection is also a part of perception. And everyone to some degree gets disappointed if you're not accepted by the perception of someone else that you may want to have accepted you, or wanted, you know, to reach out to, or be a friend, or be a romantic partner. And I've realized that in my understanding that people perceive you based on how they think and feel of themselves, I realized, like, I don't fuck with nobody more than I fuck with my own self. Like, I fuck with me more than I fuck with anybody. So if someone chose not to accept me or see me for who I see myself transparently, you know, like just how you see me. Yeah. I just genuinely started to not give a fuck. Like, I don't know how to teach how to give a fuck. I don't know how to give steps into not giving a fuck. Right. But I was just like, wait, if I fuck with me more than I fuck with anybody, and you don't fuck with this, that says more to me about you than it says about me. The steps of actually not giving a fuck, I can tell you what the steps are. I would love to hear them. The steps of not giving a fuck about other people's opinions about you is to cherish yourself. That's like, beautiful. That's how you learn. That lays down the pathway, the foundation, because once you realize how dope of an individual you are, and how not even just that, but like how dope of a person you are, and how dope other people and other things, and how the world just revolves around you, and how to look at a tree is also to look at yourself. Like, once you start to really understand like the interconnectedness of all of this shit, it's just like, damn, I can't help but love me. Yeah. And for that, like, who gives a fuck if that other person just hasn't realized that they actually do love me? No, for real. No, for real. I feel that. And we're all unique expressions of consciousness. We're all unique expressions of God. I fuck with my expression so much. Like the way that I think, the way that I perceive, the way that I create my thought, my voice, my mannerisms, like everything, even my depth, the beauty that I can see in things, the see in people, see in the world, like there's nothing better than the way that I perceive things.
I'm gonna zoom this in.
Yeah, I fuck with my expression of consciousness so much. Like I love the uniqueness in which I am. So it's like, no, your perception of me is not my fucking problem. Like it's really not. Like I'm too content within myself to allow that shit to filter. And even the good perceptions of people, like, can't even get too caught up in that. Like I'm grateful for everyone who perceives me in a positive light. Like that's so fucking beautiful, but that's not the source of my validation. That's not the source of where I feel good about myself. That's more of like a confirmation, like okay, yeah, another affirmation for it, but that's not the source. So yeah, it's tricky, you know. Gotta take the good with the bad. You remember?
What? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
You remember another thing? I remember the situation that happened with you and.
I knew you was about to bring that shit up. That's so funny because did you read Internet Drama?
No, I didn't see. I couldn't even read that.
Okay,
my position's bad. that situation really put into perspective perception.
Boy, oh my god,
niggas was like they swear they knew. They swear they knew.
I don't think I've really talked about that on my channel.
You didn't.
I've never really talked about that stupid ass internet drama situation. Bro. And if you know what the fuck I'm talking about, then you know what I'm talking about. But I mean, yeah, what even is there to say? I guess for me personally, like, I just see shit so clearly. And it's like when I meet somebody new, when I'm talking to them, when I'm hearing the inflections within their voice when they're talking about certain things, I'm just reading people. I'm just picking up everything. Like, and it's like I see it. Like, oh, I didn't realize that you didn't see it.
That situation, I never had more of an understanding on the perception of others and how social media can really trickle into the minds, especially of content creators, especially of people who are making content, especially with someone with you who has a platform, and how you have to like really navigate certainty within yourself while dealing with some shit like that, and how people can be so sure of something that
has nothing to do with them,
and something that's a fucking illusion. Nothing like niggas swear they fucking knew you, like, bro, based on another person's perception.
And I'm like, for me, I heard very early on, for me, embodying my adulthood has showed up in a lot of different reasons. One of the main ways I'm thinking of right now is like, if you were to fall out with a friend that I was also friends with, that does not mean I'm cutting that person off. Like that, just solely because your perception of them may be whatever y'all got going on, and that's tainted their image in your mind. That still ain't got shit to do with me. So therefore, I'm not about to cut that person off. Like, I'm still gonna be cool with them. I'm still gonna hang out with them, and it ain't got shit to do with you. And none of my friends, we haven't had no issues like that. Like, we're like, all right, like, I might not fuck with that person, but I don't care that you do. Like, it doesn't matter. Oh, and with that, I know not to base my opinions and feelings about somebody off of the shit that somebody else says. So I was gonna say the whole internet, but no, it really wasn't even that big of a fucking deal. We had some technical difficulties. What I was saying was, after that situation took place, I just remember being shocked, because I was just like, all right, I see through bitches bullshit. Like, that's everybody else does as well. And no, apparently everyone else did not. And it's so crazy how people like think that everything they see online is exactly the truth. Like, what is wrong with y'all? Like, that's the question that I'm gonna bluntly ask. Like, what is wrong with niggas who think that everything that somebody posts is the solid truth of the matter? And like, why you give a fuck? Like, why do you give a fuck? There are other brown girl creators who have been friends before, and I'm mutuals with all of them, and I know that they don't talk no more, but niggas is not making videos about it. Niggas is not fucking trying to set a blaze the Trinity fandom. Like, what the fuck? Like, that shit was so weird.
Yeah, and it's just weird to, like, hear one person's side of the story and then...
Be there, because you were fucking there.
Yeah.
To see, like... I don't know. I remember Liz called me on the phone after that shit went live and was like, "What did you do, Trinity?" And I was like, "Excuse the fuck out of me, bitch. I'm crying on the floor." I'm thinking she calling me to console me, to ask me what's going on. She calling me, "What did you do, Trinity?"
Oh.
I literally, You know what the first thing I said to her? I said, "Do you know X, Y, and Z personally in real life?" And she was like, "No." And I was like, "Who did you just go on vacation with and have known for a few? Who just let you come over here and, like, gave you all of my sewing machine equipment? Who do you know in real life?" And she's like, "You? So why the fuck are you calling me, questioning me about my actions?"
Yeah.
And then that was in that moment I realized this girl is not my friend. This girl is somebody who enjoys social media drama. And so that was really weird. And to hear your friend Cameron, I didn't know that it was her talking shit. That shit is just so weird to me. Like, niggas who have actually been in my presence, seen my energy, seen me interacting with them, and then one thing comes out online and all of a sudden that whole everything else is just thrown out the window. Like, niggas be fickle. Niggas be fickle, bruh.
Yeah, people do be fickle.
Niggas be fickle as fuck.
I mean, people enjoy drama too. I mean, that's why niggas watch. I mean, it's like people watch movies because of drama. So of course, if it happens in real life, they feed off of it.
But look, that's another thing with me. Like, I don't like that shit. Like, I don't like really hearing about that shit. So it's hard for me to take myself out of my own perspective in these kind of cases. And remember, people like watching reality TV.
For sure.
And even better if it's coming from a bitch they think they know.
A
bitch they see themselves in.
Yeah.
Like a shawty that they just bumped into in little 5 points.
Yeah.
Oh, a shawty that I was secretly jealous of.
It'd be that too.
That's what it is.
It'd be that. That's just normal human shit. That's what happens as human beings. Everybody gets into some type of discrepancy with another person. But for you to be like, oh, because you got on YouTube and talked about manifestation, no one should have a negative opinion on you.
Yeah, I don't know what it was.
That's just what's gonna happen.
Like, people don't be seeing clearly, and whatever it is that they seeing is through their own lens of trauma, of perception, of jealousy, of hate, of trauma. So, like, man, that shit ain't got nothing to do with you.
And I mean, and the smartest thing to not do is allow someone else's problem they have with you or perception they have with you become a problem you have with them in return, and when you never had an issue with them in the first place.
Or a problem within yourself.
A problem within yourself. Which is that, like, especially if you don't fucking know who they are. And it's just people. It's just internet comments, YouTube comments, and shit like that. Like, I hear a lot of celebrities say that they have dealt with depression due to comments they've gotten from, like, on their Instagram and stuff, like Hailey Bieber and shit like that. And I'm not insensitive to it at all. Like, I'm not insensitive. I get it. I can understand as a human being seeing some negative shit can hurt your feelings. Some people can say they can read 100 positive comments and then read that one negative comment and it just sends them in a spiral. I can't resonate. I don't know why the fuck people's mind works that way. I'm not trying to just act like I'm above it all. I genuinely don't get how the mind can do that, knowing that positive and negative is a part of this experience. It's a part of the reality. I understand we don't want to experience negative comments and shit like that, but it's like, these people don't fucking know you. They're behind a screen. They wouldn't even say that shit to your face if they saw you. They would be asking to take a picture or some shit. Like, I don't understand how that can warp your perception of yourself and start to make you feel less than. I'd never bother with in this point that I'm in right now. I don't bother with incorrect perceptions of me, people who assume things about my sexuality. I'd be flattered. I was just talking to Trinity about niggas who have walked up to me and tried to shoot their shot and shit like that. Like, the average nigga who's not secure himself would be offended, you know?
Gravely offended.
You know, he's just like, fuck you mean? Like, it ain't the right.
I don't need a ride, nigga.
Yeah.
I don't need a ride, nigga. I don't need a ride, nigga.
The fuck you trying to, what the fuck you trying to do? I don't swing that way. But that shit never bothers me. I'm always flattered. Perception is perception. It is what it is. You take it how you take it. I don't really have anything else to say.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Is there anything else you want to touch on?
I think. Your perception of self. Well, I feel like we've talked about that.
Sprinkled some of that.
Yeah, I feel like we sprinkled that a little through the thing because I don't know. I feel like just love yourself. Just focus on admiring how you are as is, like without even trying to switch no shit up, without even trying to say I love myself because I went to the gym 3 times this week. Not even doing that, just accepting you for who you are, because I think that is a blessing within itself already. And the more you love on yourself, the more you can lead with compassion and love on other people.
Facts. Damn. And I also feel like I have one last thing I want to touch on because I feel like it coincides with this. I want to ask you how you never allowed the fear of perception from others to put your, make you hesitant on putting yourself out there. Because people are hesitant on just being content creators or sharing their art. Yeah. Or sharing their expression. Because
for me, I feel like I was always too far off the deep end, quote unquote. Like, I was always very untraditional. Like, I didn't give a fuck. Like, my dad, when he was pick me up when I was a kid, he would like see how I was dressed and he'd be like, "Oh, you like Punky Brewster?" And I'm like, I ain't know who the fuck that was. But when I found out who it was, I'm like, yeah, this bitch resonate. Like, I like color. Like, and I think for me, I've always liked the things that I like, and I've liked them loudly. Yeah. I like them loudly as fuck. Like, everyone's gonna know I enjoy this. Yeah. So for me, I also credit that a lot to my zodiac placements. I think that is an aspect of why I've been bold and loud as fuck my whole life. Yeah. And I think also being raised, I was the first girl. Uncles, aunts, like grandparents, like I was the first one for everyone to give their fucking attention to. And then after that, all of my cousins are boys. So like for the majority of me growing up, like I didn't have a girl cousin until I was like 6 and she was a baby. So like it wasn't really much interaction going on there. But on my father's side, I was in a constant state of defending myself because my cousin was a fucking narcissistic menace asshole. Yeah, he was like just crazy as fuck and put me in a lot of shitty situations. So I'm defending myself from him, also in a family where I'm not being seen at all. Like, not being seen. My family on my father's side, they just wanted me to be prim and proper and easy to digest as a little girl. And then on my mom's side, like I just kept having to conform to be some kind of shoulder for niggas to lay their emotions on, lay their burdens on, just be some kind of safe space for everybody else. And so with that, when I have experienced more and more coming into myself, it's just made me want to like just shake off everybody else, like, and everybody else's energy and everybody else's opinions about all that shit. Like, damn, like, and it was so, damn, this is a memory. Around middle school, when I was, I guess, starting to rebel, fuck the system. Like a nigga's never fallen in line with that. But around middle school, when I was having a lot of issues with my mom and shit, I remember her being like, I don't understand why you do things that I tell you not to do. And I was like, you telling me not to do them makes me want to do them even more.
I feel that way.
You feel that way about everything? Everything. Like literally, it was like, if I was about to do the dishes and then she tells me to do the dishes, I don't want to do the dishes no more. Yeah. Like, I was already going to do it.
Now I don't know if I'm doing it because you want me to do it or because I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Now you like fucking up my own decision making.
My wrist.
Oh no.
So
yeah, yeah. I get that.
So yeah, I just think love yourself and love yourself loud as fuck, bro.
Loud as fuck at that. No, loud as fuck. Don't just love yourself quietly, like discreetly. Like love yourself out loud.
Loud as fuck. Loud as fuck, bro.
Abrasively. Do that shit.
Aggressively.
Yeah.
For the world to see.
And not in hopes of validation.
Yeah. But without a care for validation.
Exactly.
With self-validation.
There you go.
So yeah, we're about to eat some kale salad. It's
that
just about
dig
to
down
slap.
Special.
Dick.
That dig down special.
The DDT. Dick down tray. Dick down. Never mind. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Subscribe to Trey's channel.
The Flow Network.
Link in description. Link in the cards. Ooh, a butterfly. And check out the getaway cabin video, because that shit should have already came out. Fuck, I'm struggling. Alright. Peace.
Back on Earth, trying to wreak some havoc. Dang, that was crazy. What just happened? I've done it millions of times, but nothing millions of times. I guess that's where when we die. But I'm back as an indigo, back in the density, back to the days of 3, back to the days of me, back to the days where we see.